Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Education Platform. But before we begin with our lessons for today, I'm going to be reading you a verse which is taken from Proverbs chapter 4, verse 1 to 6. And it states that, "Hear ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to known understanding, for I give you a good doctrine. Forsake ye not my law, for I was my father's son, tendered and only beloved in the sight of my mother. He taught me also, and said unto me, Let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments, and live. Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and shall receive thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. The word of the Lord." Now, our first lesson is about the author's purpose. Now, what we already know about the author's purpose is that when trying to figure out the author's purpose, the author wants to know that if he or she is trying to persuade, inform, or entertain, like is shown. Now, to help describe author's purpose, I'm going to be reading you a story called The Last Lesson. And it starts. The Last Lesson by Alphonse Daudet. Alphonse Daudet, in the background, in 1840 to 1897, was a French writer. This story takes place in Alsace, a region of France that borders Germany. In 1870, France lost a war with Prussia, a region in northern Europe that included part of Germany. After this war, France had to give Prussia some mainly German-speaking regions, previously under French control. These were the provinces of Alsace and Lorraine. Today, the overall culture of Alsace is generally more German than French. In this story, a young Alsatian boy is met with a surprising announcement when he arrives at his French class. As it starts, "I started for school every late that morning, and was in great dread of a scolding, especially because Mr. Hamel had said that he would question us on participles. and I did not know the first word about them. For a moment, I thought of running away and spending the day out of doors. It was so warm, so bright. The birds were chirping at the edge of the woods, and in the open field back to the sawmill with Prussian soldiers were drilling. It was all much more tempting than the rule for participles. But I had the strength to resist, and hurried off to school. When I passed the town hall, there was a crowd in front of the bulletin board. For the last 2 years, all of our bad news had come from there. The lost battles, the draft, the orders of the commanding officer, and I thought to myself without stopping, what can be the matter now? Then, as I hurried by as fast as I could go, the blacksmith, Watcher, who was there with his apprentice reading the bulletin, called after me, "Don't go so fast, bub. You'll get to your school in plenty of time." I thought he was making fun of me, and reached Mr. Hamill's little garden all out of breath. Usually when school began, there was a great bustle, which could be heard out in the street. The opening and closing of desks, lessons repeated in unison, very loud, without our hands over our ears to understand better, and the teacher's great ruler rapping on the table. But now it was all so still. I had counted on the commotion to get to my desk without being seen, but, of course, that everything had to be as quiet as Sunday morning. Through the window, I saw my classmates, already in their places, and Mr. Hamill walking up and down with his terrible iron ruler under his arm. I had to open the door and go in before everybody. You can imagine how I blushed and how frightening I was. But nothing happened. Mr. Hamill saw me and said very kindly that, "Go to your place quickly, little France. We were beginning without you." I jumped over the bench and sat down at my desk. Now, till then, I had right. Did I see that our teacher had on his beautiful green coat, his frilled shirt, and little ball silk cap, all embroidered, that he never wore except on his inspection and prize days. Besides, the whole school seemed so strange and solemn. But the thing that surprised me most was to see on the back benches that were also empty. The village sitting quietly like ourselves, old Hosser with his three-cornered hat, the former mayor, the former postmaster, and several others besides. Everybody looked sad, and Hosser had brought an old primer, thumbed at the edges, and held it open on his knees, with his great spectacles lying across the pages. While I was wondering about it all, Mr. Hamilton mounted his chair, and, in the same grave and gentle tone which he had used to me, said, "My children, this is the last lesson I shall give you. The order has come from Berlin to teach only German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. The new master comes tomorrow. This is your last French lesson. I want you to be attentive." What a thunderclap these words were to me. Oh, the wretches. Oh, that was they who put it in town hall. Now, what that story was about, it was about the last lesson the French teacher had to teach to all the students before he gone away. Now, the purpose in that story was to entertain and persuade. Now, our next lesson is about the stem-changing verbs for hable. The stem-changing verbs for hable, meaning to speak, are, in singular, yo hablo, tú hablas, or él or ella había. In plural, nosotros or nos hablamos, vosotros or vosotras hablasteis, ustedes, ellos, ellas habieron. Our fourth lesson is singular and plural. Now, what we know about singular. Singular means more than one thing in a sentence, and plural means the opposite. It means meaning more than one thing. Our next lesson is telling the time. Now, to tell the time, you need clocks, watches, or pocket watches. Such as example, the clock is showing 4 o'clock. And how do we know it's 4 o'clock? When the little hand is on 4 and the big hand is on 12, meaning it's 4 o'clock. But when it strikes a different time, like 6:30, you can tell it's 6:30 is when the little hand is on 6. And all those lines on the side of the clock show different time. To tell if it's 6:30, have to count by fives, such as 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Or 6:40, the hand must be on 8 and 6. When we know if it's 12 p.m. at midnight, the big hand and the small hand should be on 12. Now, our next lesson is about women during World War II. Women during World War II had a great opportunity to work in factories during the war. In 1970, many women were given jobs and freedom to leave their houses. It also made their life easier by moving to the suburbs and getting 2 cars, one for the husband and one for the wife, so it can manipulate them. So it can manipulate them better and develop a lot of beneficial opportunities for them. Now, before we go, there's some stuff you need to know. If you want to learn more, please go to our site educationplatform.car.co, and also click the like and subscribe button on YouTube. Make sure to like, share, follow, and subscribe on Facebook. And make sure to click the Learn More button to learn more. Our site isn't just for our viewers, it's for everyone in this world, including visitors or new viewers. Now, thank you and have a wonderful day.